The Angry Chicken is a production of Amove TV. Bookmark amove.tv for more gaming and esports shows. The Angry Chicken is directly supported by listeners like you via patreon.com/TAC.
Everyone, get in here! Ready for action! I've got the beast in my sight.
A podcast about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. This is The Angry Chicken.
Greetings and welcome back, everybody. This is The Angry Chicken. I'm Garrett Weinzerl. I'm Willie Dills Gregory is here. How you doing, Dills?
I'm good. Let's not forget to tell everybody why we signed off weirdly 2 weeks ago.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to open the show with that.
We'll come back to that in 1 second after I also say, and Jocelyn is here. Welcome back, Joss.
Hi,
You're
guys.
looking mighty festive in your glitter AF Santa hat.
It's the only way I roll, Garrett. Let's be honest.
Constantly covered in glitter. So yes, if you stuck around after the previous episode on like the live stream on Twitch, yada yada, you heard the story. But we got a lovely letter from a listener who wrote in saying that he, his wife, and their brand new baby daughter by the name of Evie listen to the Angry Chicken while they're trying to put Evie to bed.
Yes.
Apparently, this brand new little baby goes to sleep while listening to the absurd tones of our three voices. And
For some reason, finds us soothing.
yes. Yeah, and just requested that we say goodnight, Evie, so that she could hear the regular voices actually, wishing her a good night's sleep. I'm also thinking that, maybe secretly, Random Samurai was hoping that us saying that would just make her fall asleep easier. But
By the way, I do the same thing as Evie. Me and Evie are same wavelength. I listen to podcasts all the time while I'm falling asleep. It's great.
I thought you were going to say I listen to the Angry Chicken all the time.
No. Not the Angry Chicken. No.
oh god, yeah, I do this. I do a similar thing. That are audiobooks.
Oh, audiobook. Yeah. Audiobooks are nice too because it's very consistent, right? You got one voice, and it's just like, unless it's one of those ones where they're doing the voices of the character.
Yeah,
I love those. I find them so entertaining.
It depends on who's reading it.
It depends on how good they are at that. Sometimes it can be
the guy that did Harry Potter. Like, I like his voices.
sure.
Good on you.
Sometimes it can be off-putting though.
But yeah, guy that did Game of Thrones, not so much. Not so much into his change of voices, but
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, that's why we signed off Goodnight Evie 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. Good thing we have this to talk about because there's almost no news today.
Yeah.
Nothing
at
to talk about at all. Anyway, it ended up working out. We were going to record early on Friday and then schedule it to come out on Christmas Eve because we're all definitely not going to be recording an episode on Christmas. That would be bonkers. We're going to go spend time, celebrating in whatever form that may take. But, yeah. So we're just going to release this ASAP because there's so much crap going on. So I hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday. And we're just going to move straight into the Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
We've got a balance update, which is, I never thought I would say that this close to an expansion
Bonkers.
release.
We're 2 weeks into the expansion, and it was like, by the way, they announced this on Tuesday evening.
They announced this like the middle of the night, and then 12 hours later, they were like, "Bam, pat."
It was like 9 p.m. I'm streaming. Someone comes in and goes, "Did you see the balance changes?" I'm like, I think you're trolling me, first of all. But let me look, and I look, and I'm like, okay. And then I read, oh, it's coming on the 19th. And I think at this point, it was like, yeah, it was. I was like, that's in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I think that night I was just like, I was done. I was burnt out. So I just curled up on the couch with a blanket and watched Sabrina. And then when I woke up in the morning, I just had assumed I missed the news the night before. And then I read the post and I was like, no, I didn't. I was dead asleep when this happened. Yeah. So weird. I guess Team 5 Santa showed up in the middle of the night and bestowed upon us crushing nerfs to cards I think we were all happy to see beaten down.
Yeah, and I mean, like you mentioned that this happened within 2 weeks of the expansion, but none of the cards in this balance update actually came out in Rostacon's Rumble. So we still haven't seen like anything from Rostacon's Rumble in need of serious nerfing. But I'm glad that they, at least addressed a few basic cards and like classic cards that needed and have needed a nerf for a very long time.
Yeah,
so
the only
as much as it's two weeks from the expansion release, I still
I think honestly they just realized that there was no Roster cards being played. And so they said, we got to do something about this. We got to make sure that people play the new cards when we put them out.
I feel like it's the last card we're going to talk about, but I feel like Leeching Poison is more of a recent adjustment because of
that one is
all the Kingsbane we're seeing. But yeah, I mean everything here. Let's just get right into it. First up is 2 Druid cards, Wild Growth and Nourish, both going up a mana. So 3 mana now for Wild Growth, 6 mana now for Nourish.
Yeah. By the way, you did say crushing. I disagree with that. I think they have not nuked any cards from Orbit this time around. Like we've seen before, where they're just like, this card doesn't exist anymore. And these, we saw the most recent tournament today, the all-female tournament. There are people playing Druid with both of these cards still in the deck.
Yeah.
They're not good or not as good as they were, but they
but they were way too powerful.
Yeah.
They were way too powerful. Now I think they bring Druid's ability to ramp a little bit more in line. And I think that a lot of these card designs in the basic and classic set, like they were created before standard was even a thing, or, even before expansions were a thing. Like, so I feel like I hope we see a lot more changes to basic and classic cards, given the fact that they're going to be around for literally ever.
Yeah. I mean, I still prefer the rotation method, but if they want to at least bring them in line, then that makes it so. Because the problem is, and they say it in the post, the problem is just that every Druid deck forever has just run both of these cards. Yeah. They're just auto includes, right? The only Druid deck that didn't was Spiteful. Spiteful's not even like a top tier Druid anymore. Like you literally just start your Druid deck by putting in Wild Growth and Nourish, right? And then you go from there. And Druid right now just in general has too many auto include cards, right? So we got to make it so that there are choices to be had, right? And that's what they're doing
along that line where you're saying you kind of prefer the rotation. So do we look at this and think, oh, well, I guess these aren't going into the Hall of Fame, or do you think they adjusted them anyway and they still have a chance of maybe going into the Hall of Fame?
I don't think they do. Yeah, I think at this point, a 3 mana Wild Growth is just like a fair card, and so it's just like, that could be around forever. I would like them to print more ramp options that are a little bit like each one's a little different, right? Like I think the Jade option for before, which now, by the way, in Wild, why would you even play this? That one comes with a 1/1. But I would like to see, like, think of like Magic when you play what is it, Elvish Mystic, play a 1 mana 1/1 that then you can tap for mana. Like I would like to see something kind of along those lines, because it's like, okay, it's not infinite mana, but while it's here, it's mana, right? And I can do something about it. Like I can interact with it as the opponent. So I'd like to see stuff like that happen.
I think I'd like to see that in like 2 years. I think I'd like to see no ramp for a little while.
Yeah, but that's what Druid does, right? I don't know if I want no ramp for Druid.
I mean, we for the longest time thought going face was what Hunter does, but it's really cool now that there are a lot of Hunters where that isn't what they do. So I would just like to see a little, Druid go a different route.
It's like taking beasts out of Hunters, though, or something. It's like, they might not go face, but they still play beasts. I don't know. To me, it's like Druid is the rampy deck, and that's fine. Like, you can have ramp forever. I mean, green and Magic is not, they've always ramped. They just have different ways to do it each expansion, right? And
I think these nerfs really open up that design space too, right? Like they can play around with ramp now, because it's not like Druids are going to be on turn 10 on turn 5 anymore. Like you can play with that and give them more tools now, because you may not necessarily want Wild Growth or may not necessarily want Nourish in comparison to some new cards. So I think these are great changes and probably should have happened a long time ago.
Like I wonder now if you just if Biology Project actually starts to see play, because
Right?
that's a way to ramp. And it's interesting and, somewhat like skill testing type of way to ramp, because you're giving a mana to your opponent too. So,
Yeah.
super interesting.
Yeah, I would be trepidatious of that right now because of how many decks there are right now that run big threats that aren't just Druid.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think we all thought that card was going to be insanely broken. I think we've all been proven wrong on that one. It's definitely not. Like, every single person thought it was. But it's just like, it's interesting because there was just no reason to ever play it before. Now it's like, okay, well, if I do need to ramp, is that one of the options that I'm going to choose? Like, if my deck is just, I have the biggest late game stuff ever, that might be a method people go for now. And by the way, too, Nourish, it always bothered me that it was 5 mana draw 3, and it could also ramp, and Sprint was 7 mana draw 4 and could do nothing else.
Mhm.
Like, it was always just like, what the hell is going on here? I'm not paying anything for the choose one here. So it's like, both of these are just like the correct way to do things, I think.
I agree. I really like these changes. Up next, level up for Paladins. Also going up a mana. Now going to cost six mana to play it, which, as we all know, this is a huge change for this card because no longer going into your odd Paladins.
Mm-hmm. And not going in your even Paladins either.
No,
Yeah.
why would you? Why would you do that?
I mean, you could play the little 2 mana 1/1 that makes 3 dudes in your hand, and then I don't
Dry
know.
Gulch Jailer?
Dry Gulch Jailer, that's the one. Yep. The 2 mana 1/1 guy that makes 3 1/1 guys.
I got you.
Yeah. But I mean, I think there's better ways to play even Paladin. But this is just, it doesn't. I don't think this kills Odd Paladin. I think because I played plenty of Odd Paladin in one games where I never played level up.
That was
just
kind of
flooding the board.
That was exactly my thought when I saw this change. I was like, really? Like, Odd Paladin being board floody, like, every once in a while they'd end the game because they'd get, 4 or 5 of 1/1s turned into 3/3s. But I mean, if I was unable to clear those boards of 1/1s, like, I'd already lost. It had nothing to do necessarily with level up. And a lot of times they didn't even play it. It's just like they just flooded the board and had more stuff than me, and I couldn't get rid of it, and then they win. So I was a little bit surprised at this change, to be honest. I don't think that level up was the problem with Odd Paladin or the thing that made it powerful.
No, I don't think it was, but I think this does bring the deck a little bit more in line with other decks. Because it had been, I think the idea here was not to kill the deck completely. The idea was it's been the number one deck and the most popular played deck for about a year and a half now, right? Like, if you look at HS Replay, it was always just, Odd Paladin is still there. And, it bothered me that it was always up there. So anyway, this is just like, let's knock it down a little bit.
Yeah, it stayed longer than it should.
It feels like they just like Gen and Baku. They don't want to straight up nerf those cards. It seems like Blizzard just themselves likes those cards. Because, yeah, you're right. Like, if you really want to deal with Odd Paladin, what you do is you change the hero power, right? But,
right,
again, it's like that. Just to me, that's why I look at this change and I think, yeah, they don't want to kill Odd Paladin. They just want to, they want to make it slightly weaker.
This is the only one where I feel like I have a slightly unpopular opinion, which is like because level up is from kobolds, I was kind of hoping it would make it to the rotation intact. Because this is an archetype I'd like to see live on in Wild and continue trying to play with it. But so I don't know. I don't know that this needs to stay once level up leaves standard.
Well, if you wanted to deal with Odd Paladin, what card would you target instead?
I would have made this change a lot earlier, so it felt worth it. Because of the timing. This seems like, now you're dealing with it. So I don't know. I'm being spoiled, I guess is what I'm saying, because now I'm not happy.
I feel like though they probably expected the community to deal with this deck archetype on their own, and it's just like every expansion came out and then people were playing essentially the same 30 card Odd Paladin deck.
Well, I think too the extremely diverse meta that we found ourselves in really impacted the power of Odd Paladin, because it had so many good matchups that I think it also brought up its popularity. But We just never found a consistent way to deal with it while still being viable against other matchups on ladder.
Well, I mean, think about it though. Like they kept putting out cards that seemed like they would deal with Odd Paladin, right? And your Spirit Lash comes out, and then the reason that Blast Wave or whatever, the Mage card, and all these things where you're like, yeah, definitely this is gonna kill Paladin, right? And then it just never did, and they were like, okay, we just got to do something. Like, we just can't let this keep happening, right?
Yeah.
And so this, I think, is just their version of that.
Yeah.
Like Odd Paladin now will just hope for Fungalmancer on 5 instead of this, and it'll be fine. They'll be okay. Don't worry about Odd Paladin. They'll be just fine.
Yeah. We also have seen nerfs reverted in Wild, so I'm not.
Yeah. I'm okay with Odd Paladin not, because the thing is, in Wild, they not only have level up, they also have the 2/5 bro. So it's like they just double dip on this, and it's just
Quartermaster.
disgusting. Quartermaster, Jocelyn, thank you so much. You're like chat room deluxe right now. Like, you know instantly. Yeah, like they get to double dip on this mechanic. So it's, I don't know. To me, it's just like they don't need it.
They still have Muster over there too.
Yeah, I know. It's really gross.
I missed that card. I still miss that card.
I when I play Wild, my boy Slizzle made the Pirate Paladin aggro deck that also sometimes knocks all their health down on turn 3 and plays 2 Molten Giants. It's really disgusting. It's a really, really good deck. So if you miss it, I got a deck for you. You can go play it in Wild. It's super fun.
But I like dudes.
You make dudes too.
I want to make a ton of dudes.
You make pirates. You make all the things.
I want to make a bunch of dudes. I want to make a bunch of 8/8s. I want to make a bunch of 1/1 dudes that talk all pious and righteous, and then buff them. I want to buff my righteous dudes. But anyway, speaking of dudes, Serenite Chain Gang. I mean, a bit of a nerf. I mean, this is mostly targeting Shudderwalk, but this also has a side effect of, you know, if you're running Keleseth to buff your Serenite, it's not as good as it used to be. But the change to Serenite Chain Gang is that the battle cry now reads summon another Serenite Chain Gang as opposed to a copy of this minion. So you just get another 2/3. There's no way to not make it a 2/3 Serenite Chain Gang.
You get a 2/3 with taunt every single time, called Serenite Chain Gang. You never get. So the thing, so what happens obviously with Shudderwalk is you play this and it summons another Shudderwalk because the battle cry just reads summon another copy of this minion. So when that battle cry is performed by Shudderwalk, then that's how you get infinite Shudderwalks. And I think the idea here is that Blizzard doesn't play test the cards properly and probably didn't realize what Shudderwalk was going to end up doing when they crafted the card. And so it's like, you know, to me, this is like future proofing Shudderwalk as well. Like, okay, now we can print good battle cry cards, and we know that Shudderwalk isn't going to go infinite on people, and it allows Shudderwalk to be what we wanted it to be in the first place, which was a really strong one-turn play, and not a combo that means that the rest of the game didn't matter because now I'm playing a Shudderwalk. I'm playing 10 Shudderwalks every turn.
Right, because there's even with Zola, there's no way to get more Shudderwalks now, right? Because
you literally you can do it in Wild with Doppelgangster, but you can't do it in Standard. Because the way that it with Zola, there literally needs to be a second minion because the Shudderwalk you play is the one that's casting the Zola battle cry.
And Zola can't copy herself.
If there was another minion on the board, it would give you a golden version of whatever that minion is, but it won't be a Shudderwalk. So it literally just
can't play that deck
the infinite
in Standard. Yeah, but I mean, there's still ways to play Shudderwalk that could be viable, I think.
Totally. Oh yeah. No, I mean it's still like what I.
But now it's powerful once, not powerful a billion times.
Yes. And actually, I think right now, like, so Shudderwalk is a thing in Wild, but not really that much. But I really want to go play like a Shudderwalk Evolve deck with Doppelgangsters now, but it just wasn't really a thing before. Now it just seems like where that should be. That should be in Wild. Where I could do infinite Evolving Shudderwalk decks,
yes,
right?
That's infinite Shudderwalk feels like it's Wild by definition. So it feels like that's where it should exist.
Yeah, when in Standard you can make 5,000 armor or whatever with Ice Cream Shudderwalk Shaman.
Yeah,
that's not Standard, man.
No.
That's Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this change a lot. I mean, this has got to free up the design space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really do. I think Blizzard was just shocked at what we figured out we could do with Shutterwalk, the community.
Yeah.
Like, they were not ready for that. Remember, the animations took forever. They probably thought, oh my God, it's so fun. Look, you play it and all this stuff happens and it's great. And we were just like, yeah, but we do a million things. So exactly.
Can they just please hire Disguised Toast?
I mean, they got Chalky.
They got Chalky, yeah.
Yeah, well, Shutterwalk still happened. And it kept happening for months. But yeah, it's
and this is why I say, like, as much as they were like fast nerfs, at the same time, like, we've had Shutterwalk forever now. Like, Chain Gang probably should have been changed.
Yeah.
Like, same with the Druid stuff. Like, they were quick in Hearthstone terms.
Yeah, it's I mean, in its proximity to an expansion release, it happening in the middle of the night, a tournament being affected, like WTF guys, deck lists are locked in. That's what I mean by speed, which I'm not complaining about. I would like to see more of this personally.
Yeah,
but
I did like the idea of announcing the nerfs and then implementing them within like 12 hours of announcing it, because like I hated the 2-week lead time or whatever that we used to get, where it was just like, okay, so now I have to feel bad losing to Shutterwalk for 2 weeks while I wait for Chain Gang to be changed.
I also feel like it has this effect of, on players that like those decks of like, okay, that's all I'm going to play for 2 weeks because it's going away. And yeah, no, just get rid of it. Don't give us any, don't give us any warning. And enjoy all your free upvotes on can I get a refund for my Shutterwalk now. There's one more card to talk about, and that's Leeching Poison. It went from 2 mana to 1 mana, and the card text changed. It now reads, give your weapon lifesteal this turn. Hallelujah!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Kingsbane deck was one of, I thought, the silliest decks ever, because I totally understand making a big, powerful, high attack weapon and having that last forever, and that being an interesting way to play a deck, but it's like, but it also heals you forever.
Yeah,
that's too much.
Yeah.
So this, I mean, I look at this and I go, like, I know right now, everyone right now is like, it's all hunters now. Oh my God, they didn't change hunter. It's like, well, every time they make nerfs, there's always going to be an instant reaction, which is going to be everyone globs onto some deck and it's the top thing. And that will, I think, adjust after a while. And I actually think Kingsbane will come back as a real deck, because paying 1 mana to give your 13 attack weapon lifesteal for 1 turn and healing for 13, and then doomeranging something else and healing for another 13, and then getting it back in your hand, I think that'll still be a viable strategy. It's just not going to be this unbeatable thing a la Shutterwalk. Once you get there, the game is over, right? There's no more interaction.
Yeah, you basically like had to beat it with like Mechathune. You just couldn't kill them.
Or you had to kill them before this ever happened, and that didn't depend on you. It depended on them and what they drew. So yeah, there was just no interaction with the deck. So yeah, this is a good change. Solid change.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Kingsbane was rapidly becoming just an instant tilt for me when I saw it come out after Rastakan's release. So I'm glad to see this get nipped. Now I can go back to complaining about things like Odd Warrior and being OTK'd by priests.
Okay, so overall, these changes, by the way, they do a couple things, right? They obviously like nerf some strong, powerful cards. They make some options change in decks like Druid and things like that. But I think what they also do is they shake up the meta in such a way that control can come back, because you didn't just see like pure control anymore, because it doesn't matter how much I control you, at the end you Shutterwalk me and I die anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
or you're hitting me for 20 with your weapon.
Sure, exactly. Like it, and so you had to play like aggro, mid-range, or a combo, and like you just couldn't play like, I just control you, that's what I do. It's going to bring that kind of thing back, which I think is just healthy. We need to have the ability to do all of the 4 major archetypes, right? And we just didn't for a while. So this is solid, man. I'm excited to see because we're 2 days or whatever in right now. Excited to see where we are in 2 weeks, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of shift. I know right now it's Hunterstone, but I really do believe that's going to change.
I think so too. I mean, I still saw a good amount of diversity, so much so that I'm really struggling to climb at the moment. It feels like, I don't know, the last expansion to me, the beginning of last expansion, when I was like, oh my God, look at the diversity. Oh my God, look at my win rate. So,
yeah, it does feel like you pick a deck and then you tread water for a while.
Yeah, it's I always call it surfing because I feel like I'm just trying to catch a wave. It's like, can I just catch a wave of decent matchups where I don't draw like crap when it's this diverse? And it's been rough for me personally. My post patch experience has been hard.
I just can't stay away from the meme decks. It's the bane of my existence.
I can't decide what I like the most. I think I'm focusing in on the second recruit hunter we talked about last week that doesn't have the secrets. Like when that deck goes off, I'm having the most fun in the world.
Sure. It's a really, really strong deck. All the hunters right now are strong, but I think there's just a lot of viable stuff out there, and you kind of just need to. It's what's going to be cool is when it's not a bunch of druids and you can't identify what type of druid they are until turn 9. It's going to be nice to at least okay, it's a hunter. You generally know, did they play a secret keeper on one or not? Okay. Did they play a beast or not? Okay. Mm-hmm. You can determine pretty fast what they are. And that's, I think, that's a healthier meta to me, is being able to at least identify what the hell it is.
Yeah, just knowing what your opponent is playing.
Yeah. But Christmas isn't over, especially if you're Dills, because the arena got an update as well.
Oh, yeah. Arena got a huge update. I don't know if you guys follow Crip on Twitter. He literally posted a picture of him dancing, blowing bubbles in his backyard after this arena update. So they basically, first they brought back the 50% bonus to new cards, which they had not been doing for a while. Which I think is there was a time when they were doing like 150% or something crazy, and that was just like too much. But it definitely sucks when you're drafting and you're not seeing any new cards, and you're just like, I want to play the new ones. So this is solid. They also rebucketed a bunch of cards because right after, and I talked about this when we briefly discussed the breakdown, the really overly complex breakdown that they posted of how they balance arena. But essentially, I knew this was coming because when they first come out with all these cards, they have to just kind of judge where they think they go. And then you can kind of see over time where the win rates land. So they rebucketed a whole bunch of stuff. Some people, Taro in the Wild HS subreddit, posted that he thinks some of these are still wrong, but it's better than it was before. So a lot of that stuff got moved around. They reintroduced a bunch of the cards that you remember they purged a whole bunch of cards a long time ago because Mage and Paladin were too strong. Or no, Paladin was just right and Rogue maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, it was so long ago. But a bunch of those cards that were removed are now back. Specifically, I would say the one that probably matters the most to a lot of people is Snipe. Snipe is back.
Yay!
It was annoying that they got rid of one of the secrets. But there's a bunch of other stuff. Sacrificial Pact, Succubus, Warsong Commander, all this kind of stuff. So there's a whole list of that. But then the big thing that they did is they pulled Mind Control Tech out of Arena. Huzzah!
It's gone. Mind Control Tech.
Yep.
That
tilted everybody for so long. Because in Arena, it's a tempo game, and you get punished for playing 4 minions. If one of your minions was particularly strong, you would lose the game because they MC Tech that particular minion. And it's just, it just felt like you didn't belong there,
Yeah.
A card you shouldn't have to try to play around. You play around AoEs, you play around that kind of stuff, but to play around one minion randomly getting pickpocketed from your side, that's just, I don't know.
I think
you're
really
so tilting for so long.
I have to say, Dills, I think you're burying the lead. I think we should all be the most excited for obviously the most exciting card to come back, Warsong Commander for Warrior.
Oh yeah, that's 3 mana 2/3. Yep. Why did they just make it a 2-mana card? I don't understand.
Why don't they go back and adjust it a little bit?
So the reason why I think so, if you look at some of these too, it seems like they are giving back some of these cards because now with the micro adjustments and stuff, like right now, Warrior is actually OP in Arena. It's like the best class. So they're like, here's some crappy cards back. This ought to do it. So
Yeah.
it's. I mean, I think with the bucketing system that they didn't have before, it's okay to just put some of these bad cards back in. But yeah, the whole thing. I mean, all of these are fantastic adjustments. Like it really felt like, I posted in our Slack that Hearthstone Christmas just keeps on giving. It really felt like that. It was like, hey guys, we listened to you and did something immediately this time. I know that seems out of character for us, but we did it, and they're getting the love. They're feeling the love right now. There's a lot of good vibes going around the Hearthstone community that were not there 2 weeks ago. So
it's good. We're so used to this being the quiet time, as evidenced by the 437 tweets I got from everyone saying, "Ha ha, Garrett said there wouldn't be any news for Christmas." Which,
I mean, we were just,
in my defense, was only
history.
based on the history of the last 5 years of this game. But yeah, it's usually quiet as hell right now, and this game is just blowing up with new stuff. And even other games. I mean, WoW just got a patch. Here's the Storm, after Doomsaying galore, also just got a patch. This time last year, they upset that game and then just left. And we're like, but the game makes no sense now. They're like, we're on break. See ya. I like this. This is cool because we're all about to have some free time to enjoy our games. Like, hit us with something new right now. Let's do it. This is wonderful. More of this, please.
Yeah, I feel like it breathed life into the game after the expansion was good. Like, I really like this expansion a lot, but I think a lot of people were skeptical, and I've heard from more people than ever before this time that they skipped this expansion, right? Like they didn't pre-purchase, or they bought less packs or whatever. And I think that's just because of after the last few where it just felt like the game didn't change enough. They needed to adjust their strategy around how to use a hero's term, the cadence of the change. It needed to be adjusted. And I think doing a balance change this quickly after an expansion, this feels like this is how they should always do it. And they should do one more at some point too. I really do believe that the 2-month period in, we should also look at, we don't have to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff, but it's just nice when changes happen because the game, refreshes a little bit. So,
yeah, no, I'm with you. I am not with cadence now having a negative connotation in my mind because
Right.
that's a word I liked to use, but Jay Allenbrack has ruined it for me. Thank you. But yeah. Anyways, we're gonna talk some Hunter because we haven't talked enough Hunter already. But before we do that, we have a sponsor to thank for today's episode, and that's HelloFresh, keeping me fed in ways that are way healthier than what I would do on my own if left to my own devices over these busy holidays. If you are unaware of HelloFresh, they are the meal kit delivery service. It shows up right to your door in a wonderfully packaged box that stays cold even when I forget it's coming, and then I don't get home until really late, and it's been sitting out in the Florida sun all day. It's still cold. I don't know how it works. Something about ice and science.
Magnets.
Magic.
It must be magnets. It must be magnets. No, but it's really great. There's something for everybody. They've got 3 plans you can choose from. They have the classic plan. They have the veggie plan for you vegetarians out there, and the family plan if you've got more folks to cook for. You can look for. I do legitimately look forward to it every week because you get to customize what they send you by either using the app or the website. And then I also know, I can avoid the grocery store, especially this time of year. That's a wonderful perk. And it's just going to show up and I'm going to have something to cook. And then on top of all that, the ingredients are pre-measured. They're in labeled kits. Like, it's right there. It's printed on the bag what this thing is. So even if you're looking at it, you're like, I'm not sure that's a carrot. It might be a fancy onion. It's a carrot. It's very helpful for me and my issues with identifying carrots. I very much enjoy it. And it's just very convenient. The account is very easy to manage. You get to choose your delivery date, and you can even pause deliveries if you're going to be out of town or if you're traveling for the holidays, for example. So it's great. So you can go check them out, and you can get a total of $60 off. So that's $20 off of your first 3 boxes by going to hellofresh.com/TAC60 and entering the code TAC60. Again, that's $6 off, $20 off your first 3 boxes at hellofresh.com/TAC60 with the code TAC60. So go check them out. Big fans here. So much so that we've actually recreated some of them in much larger quantities than originally intended to impress
I try
friends
to
that
recreate them too. Like when I find one that I really like, or now, it's changed the way I make a burger. Like now I'm no longer I used to always just be like, yeah, you just get meat and cheese and you're done. And now I'm always like, what artisan ingredients can I put on this one? It
is really
just opened up my eyes to so many more possibilities.
Yeah, it's really up my cooking skills. It's really up my cooking skills. What hooked me was it looked like the picture. Like when I was done with when I'm finished with most of them, I'm like, oh my God, it looks like the picture.
Makes you feel like a real chef.
Yeah, I dig it.
It's like, oh, I did this.
Yeah. Yep. So thanks, HelloFresh, and we thank you for going to hellofresh.com/TAC60, using the code TAC60, and getting $60 off total off of your first 3 boxes. Go check them out. Now, let's talk about Mid-Range Hunter.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay.
Mid-Range Hunter. So, yeah, we said last week we were going to do Undertaker Druid. That's not happening because of the nerfs. We're going to see how Druid shakes out in the longer run. But in the meantime, Dills, you suggested this, and so did Justin Robert Young in our Patreon Discord.
It's a good deck, and it's so one of the reasons why I also thought this would be a good deck to cover so close to nerfs is that we need some time to see how things shake out, but we should be doing our service as this podcast to our community by just giving people a pretty good deck that's pretty cheap that you can just play right now and we'll be fine. So if you're struggling to find a deck right now, maybe you didn't spend a lot of money on this expansion, this is a solid deck. It plays similarly to how you probably played Hunter in the past, so it's not going to be like, oh, I don't understand all these death rattly weird things I'm doing. It's just like, okay, no, I'm playing beasts. I'm hitting you in the face. I know this. I get this. This is like a warm blanket that you just put on and you're like, Hunter. But with a couple of twists, and that is that you also now have, of course, the Rexar game plan as well, in case games go incredibly long. And we've got some new cards in here, which is another reason why I really wanted to choose this deck, because if you look at like the recruit deck, really what we've done is we put Undasta in there, and that's all we've really done, right? Here we've actually got 3 new cards, 2 copies of each of them. Wow, that's 6 new cards. So you've got the Spring Paw, which turns out is fantastic in a deck like this. It's really, really good for playing against Secret Hunter because you need secret testers, and a 1-mana rusher is a great way to test for that pesky freezing trap. It's also got the Headhunter's Hatchet, which I kind of underestimated. I will admit I was wrong when we were evaluating cards. I thought a 2/3 weapon, sure, that sounds pretty solid, but how much can you really kill after turn 2, right? Like, it's not going to be as effective anymore. But in a deck like this where you want to be aggressive, it's just 2 mana, 6 damage.
You want Devil Swords. Like, how else are you going to get value out of your Jebaited Arrow?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the baited arrow, you need to overkill things. So to have that extra little 2 damage, you can bash something with the Headhunter's Hatchet and then baited arrow it to ensure that the 5/5 comes out. So it just ends up having a lot of utility in this deck. It's just, to me, I feel like, yes, I know the hype is all around the other Hunter decks right now, but I think a lot of people are underestimating the power of just a mid-range beast Hunter deck. It's very strong right now. I went all the way back to rank 5. I was telling Garrett before the show. I went all the way back down to rank 5 because I couldn't stay away from weird, stupid meme stuff that I wanted to try. And I had been up to rank 3. And then I was like, okay, I should play a real deck. And I just took this deck all the way back to rank 2. So even at, higher ranks, it's an effective deck. And I think it's getting underestimated. It has a lot of solid matchups. It does have some matchups it struggles with. I think that's the question that we got right from Patreon. So Chinchaso asked how the matchup looks between other hunter decks that are very strong. It's weak against the Spell Hunter and the Secret Hunter, but it's really strong against the Recruit and the Death Rattle Hunters. So,
and
really, basically anyone who wants to take their time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you take your time and I will kill you. That's basically how this works.
Oh man, it looks like whoever was piloting this deck and somehow managed to find an odd hunter had the time of their lives. 71% win rate.
There are a few out there. There's not a lot of them, but
I haven't seen one in a very long time.
I saw one the other night on stream and I was like, what is happening right now? What are you doing? Yeah. And then of course I raffle stomped it.
Looks like it struggles a bit against Odd Mage, but it's close to a even win rate.
Yeah, it also depends on what type of Odd Mage, because now there's this new secret Odd Mage going around that's running the Kirin Tor Mage, and it's actually favored there.
I haven't seen. I'm going to look at this deck right now. I know it's not the deck we're talking about, but that sounds cool.
And then it's actually pretty good, but like really good against Big Spell Mage because you don't have to go super wide on the board to get a lot of damage, right? You've got ways to deal damage without starting with minions on the board. Obviously, like Animal Companions give you Huffers sometimes, right? And you always have your hero power, so you could just kind of whittle people down. Yeah. Also, you see it has really good matchups against all the slower OTK paladins. So if you're seeing like the slower priests, the tempo rogues, all that kind of stuff, like anything where the opponent is trying to take their time and set something up, you have a good matchup there because you do have the ability to finish games. So it does struggle against decks that do the unfair early tempo stuff, right? So I've had definitely struggles against like Odd Rogue. That 2-attack weapon just kills so much of my stuff for free that they just get ahead. Also, it's really hard to deal with like a Hinge Clan Thug in this deck. So there's definitely like other decks that do tempo-y things a little faster than you. But what this deck has the advantage is that it has that hero power. It has that ability to just keep pressuring your face. So definitely if you're looking for something to climb with, I can recommend this. I know, Gary, you were struggling a little bit, but you didn't play a lot of games, so
no. I've been playing the Recruit Hunter, and when I finally was like, I need to play some of this before the show, I had a horrible time with this deck.
I think you look at it and you think, oh, this is easy to pilot, but I think actually now Hunter has a lot of decisions. So because you're adapting with Razor Maw on 2 a lot, you got to pick the right thing.
Yeah,
there's a lot of like. I definitely at first kind of just thought, okay, I play the stuff and I go face. And then as I played the deck more and more, I started to realize there's a lot of nuance here. So definitely don't get discouraged if you struggle right away. Everybody out there.
Because of the Scavenging Hyena, there's a lot of cases, especially against these decks, that you want to kill before they get online, where you might need to get cute with attacking your own beasts just to buff up the Scavenging Hyena for lethal.
Yeah, don't be afraid to baited arrow your own hounds.
Especially if you've got a Tundra Rhino on the board. It's good. It's good.
The one thing that I found with this deck was that I seemed to like run out of resources if I didn't get Rexar. So like, is there ever any sort of consideration for maybe like adding in a tracking or something, or like some sort of like card draw?
Versions of the deck were running tracking, but I think that eventually they decided to just streamline it and just say, no, we want to try to just tempo out. One thing you can do if you feel like you're running out of resources is look for spots to weave in the hero power rather than play your whole hand, because there are a lot of matchups where you don't necessarily want to go super wide. Like it's a little bit better to keep your minion count to maybe like 2 or 3 and then try to just utilize that extra damage from the hero power, because if you get to 8-10 extra damage from hero powers over the course of a game, you can usually deal the 20 or so with the minions. So but that's definitely, I think, something that people will struggle with this deck, is that it doesn't run a ton of card draw. In fact, does it run any?
It doesn't run any.
it's got Jeweled Macaw as a random beast to your hand. There you go.
But that's generation. That's not
draw.
Yeah, it's not going to help you get to your Rexar.
Sure, it's but the deck is it's just not built around that, right? Like it's just like, I don't want to be spending my mana drawing cards. I want to be spending my mana killing my opponent.
Playing cards, yeah.
It's weird. Like I think about that a lot with with Hearthstone because there is so much card draw in this game. That it's sometimes I play decks. I'm like, I don't feel like I'm getting penalized for drawing this many cards. That's how Druid felt for so long, right? You should feel penalized for it, right? It should be like a decision you make. Like, am I a deck that draws to something, or am I a deck that just plays what I draw, right? And this deck firmly like goes into the second category. I play what I draw. I do not draw anything else. I draw this much. That's it.
Fair.
Yeah, but really strong. I encourage people to not look at this deck and go, that's not the strongest hunter. I'm not going to play that, because it just is really, really viable across all the matchups. If you click on the matchups tab and just replay, it's just like a lot of green. There's a lot of green on that page.
It has
Well,
a
and
lot of
it's not
favorite
only
matchups.
that it's a lot of green, but it's a lot of like, even the bad matchups are in the 40s, and even the good matchups are, like high 50s. And I feel like it's one of those, like we talked a while back now about polarization. It's one of those decks that can just kind of find a win against almost anything. And so if you find yourself getting super tilted, then maybe this is actually a good deck for you, because you have so many matchups that can go either way. And that usually feels a lot better, because I know that was my struggle with Hearthstone a couple months ago, where I was just like, every deck I play, just like I queue in and I'm like, okay, I've won or I've lost. And that was a really tilting feeling. So this helps kind of smooth out that polarization, I guess. And I think maybe I just need to play a lot of this deck.
It is definitely, if you hate polarization, this is the deck for you, because it's not the only polarized matchup. I think is the one that's polarized because the other guy, it's the warrior stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, warrior and it does struggle against the other hunters. I would take stock of, like, look at your matchups, see how, if you're seeing a lot of hunter that isn't this deck, I would consider something else, because you have to work pretty hard against hunters that run secrets.
But I did pretty well with it. Like I said, I was beating up on them pretty good. I will say that I think this deck is fairly skill testing and takes a little bit of getting used to. And that's why the matchups are less polarized, though, because it's not the matchup as much as it's how the game plays out, right? And it takes more getting used to than you think. And like, there's a lot of like you're correct that the Secret Hunter is a bad matchup, but again, it's in 40%. That means 60-40.
It's not the worst.
You're still winning 40% of the time against them. That's not terrible. Not like you're losing every single time you play them. So, like, I just found that if I could just test their secrets properly, then I take away all their power.
My point was more that, yes, it's good against the field, but if you're not seeing the field, you're just seeing hunters, this might not be the deck for you.
Yeah. But also, I saw almost all hunters yesterday, and I still climbed.
Yeah, but you were in those games with me. It seems like a good amount of it comes down to adapt luck, and if you have my luck with adapt, it's a bad day.
Yeah. And don't miss turns.
Well, that too. But we were talking, we were going back and forth, and the fuse was burning. But that's its own thing. But anyways, that's Mid-Range Hunter. We got a deck list in the show notes, or go to HS Replay, go to wherever it is you like to find the deck list and check it out. Now let's
for 2 weeks from now, and this will be posted in our Patreon as well. We'll be talking OTK Death Knight Paladin, because apparently that's actually a deck now. Like, it used to be a deck that was kind of a fun thing if you liked that sort of thing. Now it's legit. So we've not discussed it before on this show, I don't think. So it's time. And so if you're a patron, check out the Patreon. That will be where I'll post a link for everybody to the list. And for all non-patrons, just join us in 2 weeks, and we'll be discussing the Death Knight OTK Paladin, which is quite fun.
Woohoo!
I'm so excited. I love that Death Knight. I want it to be viable.
This is it too. This is the home stretch for standard anyway. You need to figure it out. It's your time, Uther. It's your time. All right, let's move into crazy game stories.
Is the whole world gone crazy?
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com, and I'm just realizing we don't have a channel for that submission in the Patreon Discord. We should do that. should do that, even though it'll be a bit of a wall of text in there. But whatever, that's fine. It's a
I'm
channel,
on it.
It's a channel dedicated to it. So also, if you're a patron, go to the Discord. Leave us a crazy game story. Our story today comes to us from Eric, who says, "Hello there, provoked poultry." I don't know why I thought this said perverted for a second, and I had to readjust. I thought he was calling us perverted poultry, which is not inaccurate with how much we giggle at things like elementary school kids would. Anyway, he says it's not often a turn one decision changes the course of a control match, but today was one of those times. I was playing oh my God, my browser just exploded. Give me a moment. Here we go. I was playing my current favorite deck, Tespionage. My opponent is Garrosh, backed by Baku. After a mulligan, I didn't have much going for me. Turn 1, Hallucination. I don't even remember the other options. My eyes are only for Dr. Boom. Yeah, it'd be better if it were 1 mana off of academic espionage, but hey, I just gotta go for it, right? My opponent plays a mech, I play a Blink Fox, and am rewarded with Bring It On. Fast forward a few turns, I'm definitely on the defensive. My opponent has complete board control, and I can only look at the sap in my hand as he hits my face with an untargetable amalgam of mechs. I play the Boom that I got way back on turn 1. Giving me enough armor to live another turn. I fend off another couple turns and draw Valera, giving me breathing room for yet another turn. And finally, Vile Spineslayer to the rescue. It doesn't live long, but the beryllium behemoth is finally gone. My armor is almost gone when salvation appears in the form of Tess. Now, I haven't played many warrior cards at this point, but most of them were some form of armor gain. I smile and play Miss Greymane along with a Shadow Step for good measure. Valera tagged out and Dr. Boom jumped into the ring. I didn't realize it, but this was the moment I won. My board was still small compared to my opponent's, but I had armor, and the next turn, I played that Shadow Step to Tess again. This time, it was obvious that the momentum had shifted. I had a board full of plants, spiders, and foxes. Somehow, Tess was in my hand again, and most of my opponent's board had been sapped. And Valera was there, ready for more tag team action. I looked at my opponent, who a few turns prior was on the brink of victory, and I realized I had gone infinite. My deck was full, I could burn cards with impunity and never fatigue. My armor was going nowhere but up. My opponent realized it at about the same time and conceded with full health and almost 30 armor. All that, and I wasn't even playing Shutterwalk. It's a good story, Eric.
By the way, that is basically the only good matchup for the Tespionage deck is the super slow control warriors. Because, yeah, you get time to do all this stuff. And I could tell, too, what was going on here. Some people might not realize is how Tess works is that if you turn into another Death Knight, then Tess starts playing rogue cards, right? So when he turned into Dr. Boom, Tess will then just start playing your rogue cards. Then when you turn into Valera, it will then start playing the warrior cards. So it's like you can kind of like get
you can like just keep going, flip it back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I've played some games. So what was happening? It sounds like he was turning into Dr. Boom, and then Tess was actually casting his academic espionages again.
Yes.
Getting like more and more 1 mana cards in the deck and stuff. So yeah, those kind of games are super, super fun. I've had a few of those. Things get interesting. Kibler also, if you like games like this and you want to watch them, check out Kibler's YouTube. He's got like 10 or 15 of these where he's like, it's a warrior, yes, and he's playing Tespionage, and it's just like the funnest matchup ever.
This was a great story. Thank you for sending it in, Eric. I would also like to title it "Put Your Thing Down, Flip It, and Reverse It."
There you go.
That's what
By the way, I had a crazy game story this week. I was playing. So I on my Asia account, I opened a Golden Mechathune, and so I was on stream, and I was like, I guess I have to play Golden Mech. I was like, I can't just disenchant this, right? And everyone was like, No, you got to make the Mechathune deck. So I made the Mechathune Druid. Which, by the way, I don't know if that'll work anymore now, but so I'm playing it, and I'm playing as an even shaman, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing pretty good. I'm drawing all my cards. I got a Spreading Plague out, and then I'm like, okay, I got a plan here, because I could have just Spreading Plagued again, but I was like, no, I got to get all the other cards out of my hand. So I play like Furious Howl, even though I'm already in fatigue and I'm drawing and stuff. I play Furious Howl, and I play. I think it was the last Wild Growth to draw too. So I'm like actually fatiguing myself. But I have one more. I literally have Innervate, friggin' 1 mana kill a guy thing.
Naturalize.
Thank you, Jocelyn. I knew you were there for me. And my golden Megathune. And those are the only other cards, and then a Spreading Plague. So I'm like, okay, if I do this now and he can't, if I'm not dead the next turn, then I'll just do 1 turn of Spreading Plague, so I won't die then, and then I'll do my combo, right? So I'm like, I got it all mapped out. And then the friggin' guy plays the give Wind Fury guy on a fire elemental, and I'm like, oh no, I'm dead, because now he can kill all my stuff and then attack twice with the fire elemental, and then he just doesn't attack the second time.
Oh no!
And then he just attacked once with it and then didn't attack again. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I'm gonna go with a cat distracted him.
Something happened, but anyway, then I play my Spreading Plague, and he literally gets me on the very next turn. He gets me to exactly 1 health after my fatigue, and with 1 health, I pulled the Mechathune out.
That's amazing.
Innervate out the Naturalize. It was sweet.
Oh,
it was so sweet.
It's a good story.
I was just like sitting there staring, like, wait, how am I not dead? I swear I'm dead, and I just wasn't dead.
Maybe they were like, "Hey, it's Stills. I love his podcast. I'm gonna give him a Christmas present. I'm gonna give him a Christmas present.
I'm gonna give him a crazy game story." Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
They had planned it all out. They're like, "How can I make Dills win with 1 health so he feels super awesome?" That's
Here's what I should do: not attack with my second Wind Fury attack. There you go. Smart.
Yep. Well, before we move into emails and wrap this up, let's thank our patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. We very much appreciate everybody. It's another full year of the Angry Chicken done. This is our last episode of 2018. We very much appreciate everyone who has supported us throughout the entire year. So if you like the show, you get something from it, you want to give something back, head on over to patreon.com/TAC. On this episode, we want to thank some of our newer patrons. Thank you to Goldie, Keegan, and Chenchazo, who we answered the question of back in the strategy segment. So Chenchazo, you just became a patron, and then you dropped a question in the Discord. So thank you.
And look at that, paying off already.
Yeah. It's not exactly profitable terms of investment, but we appreciate it nonetheless. So thank you. Thank you very much, Chinchasso, and everyone else. So go check it out, patreon.com/TAC. If you enjoyed the Angry Chicken and you want to support us. And obviously, as we've mentioned, you'll get access to the Patreon Discord. Now let's take some questions.
Hello.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh.
Hello, brother.
You know, hearing that, and then there's a Shaun of the Dead Easter egg in Into the Spider-Verse. I really want to go watch Shaun of the Dead. I haven't watched it in forever, and it's one of my favorite movies.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever see the thing about how they give away the entire plot of the movie at the very beginning?
I'm not sure I have.
No, it's pretty cool. It's Edgar Wright loves to do stuff like that in his movies. But at the very beginning, like, you know, the whole thing where they talk about what they're going to do for the day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. And then we're going to come back to the Winchester for a pint or whatever it is, right? Yeah. They literally describe all the things that then end up happening in the movie. And it literally ends with them back in the bar fighting zombies. It's so awesome. Yeah.
Such a good movie. Such a freaking good movie. Anyways, you can send your emails to tacpodcast@gmail.com or drop us some questions in that patron Discord that we just mentioned, which is exactly what I'm going to go EDU did. This was from our Discord. He said, what is the new giggling inventor for Rastakhan if we have one already?
There's no giggles in Rastakhan, man. There isn't a card that's just out there killing everybody.
I'm not even sure it's like killing everybody, just inclusion in many, many decks. I don't think there is one.
I don't think so.
Before it had released, I would have said maybe Undertaker.
Maybe.
But he's pretty specific right now.
The most popular card is just Zul'jin because it's made Hunter, Spell Hunter, and Sea Hunter.
No, I think it's Baited Arrow, if anything. If anything, it's Baited Arrow. That's not like when we think of giggles, I think of like this, neutral card that's just all over the place. And I don't know. Undasta is the most popular neutral. Because of its use in Hunter.
Yeah. And again, that's because of Hunter. And Druid too, right? But I don't know if that's going to continue. All right, so here's a card though that's kind of interesting that I think a lot of people didn't really see coming was Mojo Master Zihi is the other most popular like neutral legendary. And I was playing the other day. I was playing this card in a tempo rogue, and it's super good because there was games where I was like against a mage, and I'm just like, okay, once they get Jane out, I cannot win. So literally on turn 8, I just Mojo Master Zihi, and they were like, oh no, I'm gonna Jaina.
I recently have started including Zihi as well, and I really like the card. And now I am mad at myself because I didn't connect the dots. It's a new Lothab. That's what it is. It's doing it's the similar type of protection against you know something's coming and you want to screw with it before they can play it. That's what Zihi does. It's such a cool card.
Yeah, do you think that it's still going to see as much play now that we've seen Druid nerfs?
Well, in the decks that it's good in, yeah, because it's not just good against Druid. I know obviously that's where your mind instantly goes when you look at this card because of ramp. And that's what we all looked at when we saw, oh yeah, kill Druid ramp. But it just turns out to just be like good against any late game control deck that's gonna stop you from killing them with your mid range deck, right? Like because anytime any deck gets the late game in their control, they're gonna have some giant play. Like I was playing against a Q block, and I was like, I know you're about to Gul'dan, and I don't want that to happen. So here we go, Mojo Master.
But it seems fair though. It doesn't seem like giggling that was overpowered. Like this feels like 6 mana 5/5 that does something to both players.
Well, yeah, I think that's why you're not seeing it.
It affects them more than you, essentially.
Yeah. But I think that's why you're not seeing it in a lot of decks. You're just seeing it in specific decks where this card kind of fits. Which is why I stick to my original answer, which is there is no giggling inventor of Rastakhan.
Yeah, just didn't happen. It did not happen this time, and that's good.
Yeah.
We don't want that. We don't want giggles.
I mean, we want giggles, but not that kind of giggles.
Yeah.
Dills, who's our next question from?
We got a question from Pi. I'm guessing this is probably Rational Pi.
I mean, that or his evil twin Irrational Pi.
What's that?
That or his evil twin Irrational Pi.
Yeah. Other Pi. Hey there, Rascally Roosters. Ever since Jade Idol was released, there have been more and more ways to add cards to your deck and avoid fatigue, sometimes indefinitely. Dead Man's Hand, Kingsbane, and the new Undertaker plus Astral Tiger combo are just a few examples, not to mention cards like Deathstalker Rexar that can generate enough value from outside the deck to make running an opponent out of threats unfeasible. Do you enjoy the very long games this sometimes leads to? Do you think that the turn timer should be changed since fatigue doesn't guarantee games end like it used to? Yeah, that's actually a really good question because this was not how Hearthstone used to work at all, and it's times have changed, man. So I like the long games. I don't like them to be irrationally long, irrationally Pi long.
Which I think they did actually with the Serenite Chain Gang change. Like the one that I found super frustrating was that armor gaining Shutterwalk that never wanted to kill you, just wanted to.
Yeah, it literally just wanted to drag it out.
Yeah. Which like those games could take an hour and a half just because of animations. So before, like, I don't think I ever actually hit a turn timer before, something bad just happened. So I don't know. I think they should probably change something. It seems like we're in a totally different game now, right? Like,
yeah,
this isn't the old Hearthstone that we knew. So maybe they need to take a look at something.
They could make it. I mean, it's right now it's 60 turns, right? So they could make it 100 turns.
I thought it was 90, wasn't it?
No, I think it's 60.
Oh.
Maybe it's not. I don't know. I always heard 60, but it's 60 turns for each of you. So it's like 20 turns. Yeah. But it doesn't happen often enough probably to be a thing that really needs to be changed.
90. 90 is the limit.
Oh, is it 45 turns? 90 total? Okay,
45 for each player.
It just doesn't really happen often enough that it's like probably problematic. But if they wanted to, if they really if it's happening, if it's like jumped up like now, it's 500% more than it used to be. Like then you could maybe take a look at it. But I've played tons of really long games and we still tend to end them at some point. Somebody like tips the scales in direction of winning. So it seems more often that you get the turn timer thing in only very specific matchups, and when both players are kind of playing in a super safe way that's not trying to kill the other guy. It's not how I play. I generally always try to kill you. So
there was a top 16 match between two Odd Warriors at DreamHack Atlanta, I believe, that went 2.5 hours and hit the turn timer.
Now in a tournament, don't you win if you have more armor than the other guy? I think most.
I can't remember. It was like 2 a.m. I don't even remember what the final decision was, who won. But
I'm pretty sure most tournaments run the rule that if you hit the turn timer, it's the guy who has the most health plus armor wins. But yeah, because I know people were like they thought that's how it worked on ladder too, but on ladder you just both
lose.
Star. Yeah. Which is so terrible when it happens.
Yeah,
you literally spend 2 hours not getting a star.
Or losing one.
Or losing it, yeah.
Sure. So I was playing my milkshake deck last night because it was the 8th Dills of Christmas, so 8 milks a shaken. And every game I played went like an hour. It was crazy. Because I went up against a Reno mage, then I went up against another Reno priest, but I'm like, my deck is just, I'm the greediest of greedy decks, right? Like I don't draw my own cards. I only draw your cards, right? And so, and then eventually I Archbishop Antonitus them or whatever, or Benedictus them. So it's just like, I can just go forever. But I think 3 30-plus minute games in a row or something like that. It was nutty. But I was loving every minute of it. It was fun. And I knew what I was getting into. I played the milkshake deck, you know?
Yeah.
It's on me.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't happen to me enough either. It does feel like the game has slowed down a little bit in the, I don't know, the overall scheme of Hearthstone, but I don't know. I feel like you said, Dills, I feel like a lot of times you're signing up for it because you can change it by playing a faster deck. You're going to know how it's going.
You don't want to see a long game. Just don't, play a tempo rogue, play mid-range hunter, play anything that's not Dead Man's Hand Warrior or one of these ridiculous.
Yeah, hell, go dust off your Murloc Mage. You'll know real quick if you're going to win or lose that game. Don't worry. It'll be good. It'll be fine.
By the way, I saw Murloc Mage used in the tournament yesterday, and to good success. It was just destroying people still. So
it didn't lose anything. It was working before Rastakhan, and people are being real greedy right now. No, I think there's a chance for it. It's still I still find it to be an elaborate coin flip, but it's really nice when it lands heads. So, final question comes from who, Jocelyn?
This comes to us from Bites in our Discord, who says, what would motivate you to come out to a fireside gathering? Regular casual meetups with friends, exclusive content like Nemsy, pre-release parties, or competitive events? So for me, it's not necessarily what the fireside gathering is offering. It's more like, where is it? Because like driving a couple hours to go to a gathering isn't really something I want to do. But I know, Garrett, like you used to do that all the time going up to Orlando.
Yes, I used to. Yes. I don't anymore. It just got to be too much. And there isn't one close by. And I helped as part of a rather sizable team put one on. Doing one by myself so that it's close to where I live does not sound appealing to me.
It's unfortunate that we don't have like the game store network type thing that Magic has, right? Where you just know, my local game shop every Friday, I go down there and I play Friday Night Magic, right? And Hearthstone doesn't really have that type of thing because where would you go? Like if like GameStops ran them or something like that, maybe that'd be a thing. But GameStops don't care about Hearthstone. They're like, you don't spend $60 on a copy of Hearthstone and then take it home. Like,
also, I don't want to hang out in a GameStop.
No, I mean, but you know what I mean? Like something a la that game store kind of network thing is. Yeah. I wish how it worked, but I think honestly the way to do it is if a bar that's fun to go to has one near me, then hell yeah, I'll go to that every week. But like when I used to live in San Francisco, the game night thing that would happen at Folsom Street Foundry every single Tuesday or whatever, I would do that thing all the freaking time because it was just this really fun event. Like it was all this stuff going on. And then we also played Hearthstone there. So yeah, it really needs to be just, like you said, Jocelyn, just like the environment, proximity, that kind of stuff. I don't think more Nimsies is going to be the answer here. It's like we just need more cool, fun places to hang out that are also just doing this as one of their nights. We have one here in Austin that happens that this girl, Christina, puts on, and that's pretty sweet. But it's a little too far. It's just a little too far. It's like 35 minutes. If it was 10 minutes, I'd be there every week. But
yeah, for me, I mean, I don't play Magic really anymore. But when I did, what got me out was doing things that I couldn't do at home with my friends easily. Anyways, like because I really enjoyed limited Magic, so I liked drafting. I liked doing sealed events, and it was fun and it was unique. But there's really nothing like that in Hearthstone. I mean, they're doing it a little bit now with the pre-releases where you can open your packs early, but if I'm being honest, like I'm just not drawn that much to being able to open my cards a few days early. It's not
because you can't play with them, right? So
you can't build the exact deck you want with it anyway. So yeah.
Well, you can there, but
right. No, but I mean that then I come home and I'm like, oh well, now I can't.
Right. Exactly. Like you're right. Actually, that is something I used to do with when I would go play Magic tournaments, like especially for like pre-release sealed events. I'd go Friday night and play it, and then I'd bring my deck home and make a couple more decks and just do some fun kitchen table stuff. So it's just not unique enough, I guess. I'm like, yeah, I'll just not drive 2 hours to Orlando and open my cards in 3 days. That's kind of where it is. And even if it was close, I'm not sure it would be that motivating of a factor for me.
I did have fun at the pre-release, though. They are cool. I'm glad they're doing them. We just need to continue expanding that type of thing. And also, yeah, I think if they did have a format that couldn't be played on your, just at home on the client, that might be kind of interesting. What if there's like a different limited format that you could only play at Firesides?
Yeah.
That would probably motivate me to play. But,
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'd be a borderline impossible to code, but imagine if you could do a Hearthstone draft. Like you said, like, I don't know, get 8 tablets all around a table. You're all networked and you actually draft. It's just
sweet.
It has to be unique. It also, I think it would have to be unique enough that we wouldn't just kind of be annoyed that it's just not a mode in the game all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's something that requires you to be around a few other people. You know what I mean? So that way it's not something that you'd be like, hey, can't I just do this at home? Like the fact that, if you're sitting around like draft, that sounds perfect because you literally need other people who are live, right?
Yeah.
That sounds.
Yeah.
I'd be into that.
I agree. These are just kind of the challenges, I think, of making it really something you want to go to. I would also still would like to see just very, very minor variant versions of cards for attending Firesides. Even if they just have like a date on them, like promo cards from Magic events. That'd be really cool. Like if it's a common, I don't care. Give me a freaking Gurubashi chicken with a date on it.
Alternate art. Yeah.
Alternate art would be great, but even just like a stamp would be cool. So, but it's a good question, Bites. I mean, Firesides are great. They're really good fun, but it's just they're getting a little long in the tooth for me. So not different enough. Anyways, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We hope everybody has an awesome holiday, a great new year. We will see you in 2019. I believe I'm not we need to talk schedule because I'm not going to be here the first week of January.
I think the next show would be on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
F that. That ain't happening. No. We'll see you on January 8th, everybody.
We'll figure something out.
That's the next episode. Anyways, thanks again to our patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/TAC. If you dig the show, you want to support us free of charge, you can go over to iTunes, drop us a 5-star review. Huge thanks to our producers, by the way. Thank you, Declan H. and Sean C. Very much appreciate the support. If you wanted to catch the back catalog of Angry Chicken episodes, head on over to youtube.com/AMoveTV. We're typically live Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Obviously, this is a little bit different because of the holiday schedule. But before we go, Dills, where can everybody find you streaming?
Check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Willie Dills. We are in the 9th Dills of Christmas now, so there'll be 4 more of these before the most wonderful time of the year is over. You can also check me out on Twitter @Willie Dills. And I just want to thank everybody who has been watching the streams because it's been tons of fun and you guys have all been there's just been a lot of positivity in there, and that's always how I want my streams to go down. I just want lots of people in there having a good time. We've had very few like trolls or people being dicks, so it's great. Keep that up, guys. Thank you so much.
Jocelyn, what about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at Joss Plays. And if you guys are interested to know what my game of the year was this year, go and check out the most recent episode of The Gamers Inn.
Now I want to know. I'll ask you after the recording so people have a reason to go listen.
Yeah.
Mine's Red Dead 2. I'm not a unique human
Mine
being.
is not.
Yeah, I figured as much. It didn't seem like your thing. But yeah, anyways, folks, I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. All the podcasts I do are daymove.tv. Got a brand new episode of Nintendo Nexus out. Kyle's out for the holidays, but I had not Paradox on. We had a really good episode last night. And I also interviewed the WoW YouTubers Taliesin and Evitel on my solo show R2T2. So if that sounds...
I love them.
I really like them. Yeah. I almost didn't say hi to them at BlizzCon, and then I was like, screw it. I really like their stuff, and if they really liked my stuff, I'd want them to tell me. So I went up and said hi, and then they were like, oh yeah, Garrett from the Angry Chicken. I'm like, oh, shit. I figured you didn't know who I was because you're successful YouTubers. But yeah, so I had a fun chat with them. So go listen to that. It's way longer than a usual episode. Usually that show's like 25, 30 minutes because it's just me by my lonesome. That episode's like an hour and a half. So go check that out if you want some more stuff to fill your ear holes over the holidays. So that's going to wrap it up. Thank you for everybody. Seriously. Thank you for an awesome year of the Angry Chicken. Everyone who supported us. And I don't mean just on the Patreon. Obviously, patrons would really appreciate it. You're the reason that this is a decent portion of how we make a living. And we very much appreciate the support. But if you've listened to the show, if you told your friend about the show, if you subscribe to it, anything, if you came up to it at BlizzCon and was just like, high five, thank you. Because I needed that more than you probably think. So thank you for the support, everybody. Thank you for a great year. Thank you too, Jocelyn Dills, for still being here, I guess, is what I'm saying. For continuing to be awesome hosts. So it's been a good year on the Angry Chicken. It's been fun to see it. I feel like we've done some growing this year. So that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. We will see you eventually in 2019 for the next episode of the Angry Chicken. But until then, job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes.